Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.
Before we begin with any part of our agenda, let me read the important information regarding the right to know law and the remote meeting. As chair of the Merrimack Planning Board, due to the COVID-19 crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-4,
how do I mute this?
This board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm the following procedures. We are utilizing the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during the meeting through the Zoom platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing either of the following phone numbers: 1-312-626-6799 or 1-929-205-6099, and entering meeting ID 961-1769-7709. The meeting may also be viewed on Merrimack TV Channel 20 on Comcast Cable or Merrimack TV Facebook Live page at www.facebook.com/Merrimack TV. We are providing public notice of the necessary information for access to this meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom, and instructions are provided in the meeting agenda posted on the town of Merrimack's website at www.merrimacknh.gov/planning-board. If anybody has a problem communicating, there are ways to access us. Please email rprice, R-P-R-I-C-E, @merrimacknh.gov. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at that time. Please note that all the votes are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. Let's go to the room. Bill Boyd.
Bill Boyd, aye.
Alistair Milnes.
Present, Bob.
Lynn Christensen.
Present by myself.
This is Robert Best. I am present and I am by myself as well. That is all the members of the planning board that are on the call. So any other member or alternate member is not present. That completes the mandatory required script. And so let's come back to the ordinary course of business. Our next meeting after tonight's meeting is currently scheduled for September 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. It'll be done via Zoom call as well. For public participation during the virtual meeting, the viewers, in order to participate, they need to follow the instructions that are on the meeting agenda and then press *9 on your phone when prompted to do so, and that will raise your hand. So during a public meeting, if you'd like to speak, you press *9 on your phone. That raises your hand and we can call on you to provide your input. Let's see. Please clearly identify yourself when you speak for the record with both your name and address so that we know who it is that's addressing the board. That completes the ordinary call to order procedures. And with that, we have arrived at our planning and zoning administrator's report. Robert, what have you?
Just tonight that the Bowers Landing site plan and the Listoka lot line adjustment, neither of those projects are of regional impact.
Okay, what's the will of the board with respect to that recommendation?
This is Alistair Mills speaking. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the advice from the staff that the matters are not of regional impact.
I will second.
Motion and second. To find that the matters are not a regional impact, let's do a roll call vote. Alistair Mills?
Yes, I vote yes.
Bill Boyd?
Boyd, aye.
Lynn Christensen?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Any other matters? That's a unanimous vote. Any other matters before the board for the planning and zoning administrator's report?
Not from me, Mr. Chair.
Any members of the board have any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right. Nelson's asked me to send him a link to the meeting, so he may join us. I just hit send on that. Sorry for being distracted for a second while I did that. And that completes the planning and zoning administrator's report. The first item on our agenda is the Granger Revocable Trust as the applicant and owner. Its continued review for acceptance and consideration of final approval for a 2-lot subdivision. The parcel is located at 225 Natticook Road in the R4 Residential by Soils District, Aquifer Conservation, and Wellhead Protection areas. It's tax map 2B, lot 34. It is also case number Planning Board 2020-11. It has been continued from our June 16th and July 21st Planning Board meeting, and the applicant has requested a continuance to our September 15th meeting. What's the will of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Bill Boyd, second by Lynn Christensen. Let's do the roll call vote again. Alistair, how do you vote?
I agree, yes.
Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Boyd, aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
I also vote aye. That's 4 votes. That's all it takes to approve that one. That completes item 3 on our agenda. Item 4 on our agenda is Synergy Storage Structures LLC as the petitioner and owner. Review for consideration of an amendment to a previously conditionally approved site plan regarding access and parking. The parcel is located at 403 Daniel Webster Highway in the I-1 Industrial, Aquifer Conservation, and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts. A portion of the parcel is subject to the Flood Hazard Conservation District. This item is continued from the July 21st Planning Board meeting, and the applicant has requested a continuance to the September 1st meeting. What is the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the applicant's wish with no further notice to abutters.
Moved by Alistair, second by Lynn Christensen to continue the matter to the September 1st meeting. Let's do the roll call vote. Alistair, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bob Best, I vote aye. 4-0-0 to continue that matter. Item 5 on our agenda is Christopher Ross LLC as the applicant and owner, and it is on the agenda for review for acceptance and consideration of a waiver of full site plan review for the conversion of current retail space into 12 multifamily residential units, including building additions totaling approximately 848 square feet. The parcel is located at 401 Daniel Webster Highway in the C1 Limited Commercial, Aquifer Conservation, and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts. Tax map 43, lot 83, case Planning Board 2020-14. It is continued from our July 21st Planning Board meeting, and the applicant has requested a continuance to the September 1st meeting. What's the will of the board?
Chairman, I make a motion we accept the applicant's wish to continue this matter to the September 1st meeting. This is Alistair Mills.
Is there a second? Second by Lynn Christensen. Alistair Mills, how do you vote?
Aye.
Question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, question to Bob. Bob, was there anything unusual with the applicant looking for a deferral to the next meeting, considering the conversation that we had with them at our previous meeting?
No, what happened in this case was they had revised plans that they were going to present to you, but they came in late last week, so it was too late for staff to put a review memo together. So we had asked them to request this continuance.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. So Alistair Mills voted aye. Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That's item 5 on our agenda. Item 6 on our agenda is Bowers
Chair.
Landing of Merrimack 2 LLC as the applicant and owner.
If I can interrupt you just
Somebody?
real quick. I
Yeah,
saw
Robert,
that
what's up?
Nelson had joined the meeting.
Excellent. Nelson, there you are. Video and phone. I hope you're feeling a little better. Your phone's muted. Or your audio's muted. Let me continue reading this one into the agenda. Bowers Landing of Merrimack 2 LLC as the applicant and owner. Review for acceptance and consideration of final approval for a site plan to construct 72 multifamily residential units in phase 7 of the Harris Pond planned unit development. The parcel is located off Bowers Landing Drive in the I-1 Industrial and Aquifer Conservation Districts, Tax Map 1D Lot 1-4, Case Planning Board 2020-16. Robert, is there anything that we need to know before we hear from the applicant?
Just as a quick overview, this is phase 7, the final phase of the Harris Pond planned unit development that's been underway for a number of years. Applicant is here to present this project tonight. We just received escrow funds for peer review and peer engineering review. So that review has just recently gotten underway. So we do not have comments back yet.
All right. So with that being the status, the plan for tonight is to hear a presentation of the project and then continue it until the future date for a decision once we have that engineering result. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Robert. Okay. Who's here for the applicant?
Bob, you got me? You got my audio now?
Yes, we do, Nelson. Thank you.
Okay. Here.
All right,
So
good evening.
You can cut me in. You can appoint me in if you want.
That's true. Nelson is an alternate, so let's appoint him to a voting position in for Neil Anketel. Thank you, Nelson, for attending to that detail. Now, who's here from the applicant?
All right, good evening. Matt Peterson here with Keach Nordstrom Associates, representing the Bowers Landing Phase 7 project. Can people see the screen, the shared screen right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
All
sir.
Can't read it, but I can see it.
Yeah, no, I can't either, so that's okay. I'll spell it out. As most people know, this project's been around since about 01, 02. I've found back pictures to 06 that showed this area being used as a stockpile. At that point, the townhouses were constructed and the apartments over here and the Dunkin' Donuts. So my belief is this was probably started about 01, 02 with the original Dunkin' Donuts and that there. 20 years later, we're at the last 72 units. Board members will remember we were there a couple years ago for the single family down in this location here and here. That is currently under construction. This isn't up to date as much, but this shows the first 6 homes here. We've actually come down around the horn and come back up to about here now with the homes there. So this thing's moving along nicely. And what we'd like to do is come for the last piece of property, which was up in here, and propose the 72 units to be in a garden style type unit. Blow up of this here, we're utilizing again the last land that's kind of been the staging area for 20 years now for the overall project. We envision these as 24 unit buildings, 4 stories, 3 of them on site. I think we all know the existing conditions plan. You guys have that in front of you with the soils and stuff like that, but most of you have probably driven up there a few times for these meetings. Again, the site plan is just going to outline the striping, the parking. We have proposed 112 parking spaces where 104 required. That's broken out based on your new parking calculations for per bedrooms and per visitor and units and all that kind of stuff that's there. The next sheet in the plan set is our grading and drainage plan. As most members, if not all, this is kind of the meats of the project. This outlines everything that the contractor is really going to bid for most of the design. One of the nice things that I tried to do, and I'm hoping Nelson will like this, is that we had a lot of extra land on this property here. Instead of going with underground detention, pavement parking lots, I envisioned, using the ground here. So
this is going to be an infiltration basin, which obviously we have Pennachuck water and the butters all around us. It seemed to make a lot of sense. If you zoom in down here, you'll notice the grade's about 196 down here. This is more the existing grade that was probably there 20 years ago. Currently up top here, this elevation now, oh, I thought I just had it here. Where'd it go? 2, we're up we got about 10 feet of fill or so, plus or minus, in this location. And I think they kind of did that because at one point this was going to be garden styles all the way down and around. I think it was 200 units of plus or minus in there. So again, this was all filled in on the natural ground. So it makes a lot of sense to just take that out, make this an infiltration basin. And what we were able to do is we have a closed drainage system for this one unit up in here, collects in the road into the catch basins, and then goes to our sediment forebay and then into our infiltration basin. The nice thing is this piece here, this sits with a ledge knob that's here. So we raised up these buildings by coming in here to kind of give a nice look as you come down Bowers Landing Road now. These are going to sit about 10 to 12 feet above the roadway, 10 feet above here, and then it's 2 foot every contour here goes down. So it increases by about almost 20 feet once we get down to here. So kind of a neat look to kind of elevate it. And what that did is that the drainage, I just have catch basins that collect here and here, come down through the system, come down to a combined manhole, and then we bring it across the street to this sediment forebay, and again, put it into the infiltration basin. So drainage worked out very clean in my mind as far as the design of this. It took many, many iterations back and forth with the owners, different locations for the driveways here. Originally, we're going to take all this ledge out, but we've worked with them to kind of get a little more aesthetically pleasing project, I believe. Utilities are pretty straightforward. We have sewer, we have Pennachuck water, we have gas, and we have underground electric, all of them shown going to the buildings in the appropriate locations. Erosion control plan, this was a plan we went through with Conservation Commission last night. We have proposed the silt sock now instead of silt fencing. This is a much cleaner application in the field, a lot easier to make sure contractors do it right and make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to. We also, the shaded areas is proposed jute matting on all of the slopes that are greater than 2 to 1. We also have them over in this location here. Next plan is landscaping. This lady here, Romy, who now works for Terrain Design, she used to work with K&A for the last 10, 12, maybe 15 years. So we like to hire her as much as we can to do our projects. She did the design for all the other, for my phases that I did. So I did phase 5, phase 6, and phase 7. So she was involved with the landscaping on the last 3 phases. Lighting, we just went with a carriage light lantern, similar to what's throughout the development, keeping it simple. And then we just have detail sheets and profiles that I won't go into those with the board members. But one thing we did from a recreation standpoint, while I was talking about the pond here, is that, as you know, we have a clubhouse at the front with a pool. These units here would be part of that association. They're garden style units. Then the phase that you just approved, there's a clubhouse proposed down in this location here. And then on phase 5, this unit here is a clubhouse right here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 existing clubhouses, 2 existing clubhouses, 1 to be constructed on site. So to me, I kind of went a little different route. I went with basically a recreation walking path that would go around the detention basins, and I proposed benches along of it so that it would be kind of passive recreation and, you know, sit down and watch the birds, that kind of stuff. We had a lot of different things, and I just felt that trying to utilize a big chunk of green made sense. But it was just my ideas, and definitely want to hear from the board members on what their thoughts and that type of stuff is. I think I'll keep it at that. Again, this is phase 7. It's the last one we're there. We've kind of gone through everything out there over the last few years. So I'll take any input and comments. Again, just so the board members know, the owners of this are out of Massachusetts. These plans here were done February 26, 2020, and they sat in my office with the stamps on them. The dates here are all 3/20. They sat in my office over this COVID here because Massachusetts, as you know, pretty much shut down, and they didn't understand that we were doing meetings and moving stuff forward and all this stuff here. So they've kind of opened back up a little. A couple weeks ago, told me to get this moving. I apologize for their escrow check not getting there enough, but it just delays us with approvals here. So not a big deal and moving things forward. That's about it. I'll take any comments or questions you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for the presentation. Very good, and compliments to the developer on all of these phases. It's always been done top quality out there, and I'm sure it will continue to be. Highly sought after neighborhood.
Crazy.
I do have some questions once we get past the question of whether it's complete and accepted for review. My questions don't relate to that element. Does anybody need any more information to decide whether the application is complete and appropriate for review? If not, what's the will of the board with respect to that question?
This is Alistair Moles, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that this application is complete and ready for review.
Is there a second for Alistair's motion?
I will second it. Nelson.
Nelson Disco seconds the motion to find the application complete. Let's do the roll call. Alistair Milnes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councillor Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nelson Disco, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bob Best, I vote aye as well. That's 5-0-0 to determine the application is complete. So my questions. I don't recall what the previous phases required, and I don't know what I can identify on the current plans that are sidewalks or pedestrian ways to get around here. How are your pedestrian ways laid out?
So in my review before I was coming tonight, I noticed that we seem to have stopped the sidewalk at this location right here. I will tell the board members that the next plan you see would have that continuing all the way to the end. I'm not really sure why it just at that point there. So we've kept the sidewalks through Bowers Landing. It's one thing Nelson's had us keep extending it as we've done our projects through there. And that's what we propose to continue. As far as the parking lot, there's sidewalks in front of the buildings and around for the parking lots and stuff like that. I wouldn't see any more any more sidewalks needed there, but I hear anything from the board.
So the two buildings to the left have the entrance ramp, and those are the ones that are elevated high up. What's the slope of that driveway going to be?
Good question. Oh, I didn't give the grade of that. I will get back to you in a minute when I calc it out. I believe it's 5%, but let me just calc it out.
Oh, you get 10 to 20 feet up in the air that fast with 5%. That's good.
Yeah, this is I'm great, climbing up 2, 4, 6, 8 feet right through here. Wait till I get to that point there is 10.
All right, so that's not terrible. It's a good long way. Is there a sidewalk or some path along that? Are you going to have pedestrians walking down that driveway, or what's the plan for that?
Yeah, looking at that right now, I would say that I did not put a sidewalk up in there. I think I'd probably have to look at that. Right now, they're coming down that drive entrance there. This one over here is not a big deal. The sidewalk's right there, but I should look at something on that.
Yeah, take a look at it and let us know. I mean, there's not a huge number of apartments down there where it's terrible to walk down the road to get to the driveway, but it certainly would be better to have a sidewalk.
I'm even thinking right in here, I've got some grade that's, well, no, actually, never mind. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll look at the other place.
See if there's some steps or something. Is that what you're thinking?
I was, but then it kind of stacks up a little bit here. I'm not sure that's going to be conducive.
As much as I like the aesthetics of steps like that for that kind of a slope, you got to deal with the accessibility of it as well. So I do like the idea of doing the detention pond. I agree with you that having 3 other clubhouses that are available would certainly suffice for the amenities for these folks, and having a little bit of outdoor with some benches and things for people to look at would be a nice approach to it. Have you guys, for the clubhouses that are already built, do you guys have a sense of how frequently they're used, and are they getting a lot of attention in use, or are they?
I couldn't answer that. I mean, the times I've been out there, they definitely get used. Different things, the meetings and stuff like that. I see people at the pool here and there. I would say you've never seen 30 to 40 people at these clubhouses, but they definitely get used.
Is Bowers Landing Drive a private road?
Yes.
Okay. Are you building it to town standards in the event that it's at least available in the future to be considered for adoption as a public road?
So it was already constructed back 15 years ago. Its size, width-wise, and everything like that, I can't attest to the subgrade. I wasn't there during inspection, but I would assume it probably was.
Either way, whatever it is, it's already there. I confused that part of it. I gotcha. And then this new entrance driveways are going to be private and not necessarily built to town roads.
They're all pretty standard built to town roads. I mean, they've got 24 feet curbing, same specs as underneath under the road.
Yeah.
I actually put your typical private roadway section. I mean, we're proposing it to be your typical 12 inches of gravel, 6 inches of crushed, 3 inches of bituminous. I'd have to look at your town one, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. The one that leads to the two buildings is the only one that's got any length on it that could be a private road. The other one is sort of right into a parking lot. Anyway, those are the questions that were on my mind. Does anyone else have any questions that they'd like to know from the applicant?
Yes, I
Nelson.
do. Yeah. First of all, I think you've done a nice job with this. You haven't talked to the number of units versus the numbers that were originally part of this development. I remember before we were talking that this would essentially build out this development.
That's it.
And the number of units being added by these three buildings are within the numbers that were originally approved. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. This is the last 72.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to verify that and be sure. I like your idea of the detention basin being used. It may or may not have water in it, of course, depending on the time of year. I would like to suggest some landscaping around there. I think it's a nice idea, and it seems to me it would be an ideal place for some landscaping, some aesthetic plantings to make that walk a more pleasant experience. That would be my suggestion here. And also, I agree with Bob on the sidewalks. I think the sidewalks should connect one to the other. And I think a sidewalk should go up the hill to the two units that are up high on the ledge. I think that's a good place for them. I think that was a good idea. But just make it possible for people to walk down to this aesthetic pond area. I guess we call it a pond. But you know what I mean. I like to link the sidewalks together, and it doesn't look like they do on this version of the plan. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Nelson. Does anybody else have any questions? If there are none, Matt, is there any feedback on specific items you want to make sure you gain from us for now, before we get to our next meeting in the future?
I just wanted to hear that Nelson was happy. I'm good.
There you go.
Gee, I almost didn't come tonight.
I know. I would have missed out on that.
There you go. Robert, I saw your hand go up. Are you?
I saw on the bottom of the screen that Bill is seeking to get your attention to ask some questions.
All right. Bill Boyd. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not call on you.
That's okay, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I appreciate it. Matt, thank you for bringing this proposal forward. I want to echo what Chairman Best and former Chairman Disco said regarding the detention basin and the walking path. I think that's a great idea. I think it takes an open space concept and like you said, provides an amenity for people in the development to take advantage of. And I think if you're able to beautify it to some extent so that when people are out for a walk, they get something to look at, I think that would make it even more pleasant. So congratulations. I really like the concept that you came up with there. The one question that I did have, as it relates to building number 2, which is on the northwesterly side of the project, you have the elevation at 235 feet. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes.
So the total elevation of that building is roughly going to be about 245 to 250 feet. Is that correct?
No. So
Okay.
first floor is at 235. The height of the building is approximately 39 feet. So you're going to be at 274.
Okay.
Like would be your roof.
Okay. The buffer on the north part of the parcel, is people that will be living on the 3rd or the 4th floor, are they going to have a view over the treetops, or are they going to be looking at the treetops so that if there are any sound that may emanate from their apartment, it's going to be buffered to some extent by the trees that are there?
So yes and no to that. I mean, you're right that this is going to sit up on this precipice here. These are down in the hole here, so more. So these guys will be looking at the trees. The 3rd floor, I'd have to answer that the next meeting with the elevation.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure how high the trees are, but the 3rd floor might look over the trees and see too. They might have a view out here. I'll have to look. I can look at that.
Okay. If you could just provide feedback on that, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Regarding your client, are they planning to condoize the units, or are they looking to make this a retail, for the lack of a better word, leasing units, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, this would add to the other 4 buildings that they already have. So this gives them a little bit more of a association now. So they'll have 7 units that would be part of it there.
Okay, so it's
condo.
So they'd be
meant to be condo.
These are rentals.
They will be rentals.
These are all rentals right now. These are all rentals, yes. And the goal is right now, moving forward, I haven't heard anything of selling these at this point. I mean, obviously it's open, but it makes a better product to have more units if they do want to, 10 years down the road when these guys want to retire, that they'd sell it as one unit kind of deal.
Okay, I'm with you. That's all I had. Again, Matt, thanks for coming tonight, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Robert and Matt, what's the target date for when we're going to come see you again?
F in the memo recommended September 15th. We should have comments back by that time.
Does that work for you, Matt?
Yeah, we're waiting on AOT at this point. Everything's been spinning up there, so that's fine.
September 15th. Before we take up the question of a continuance, are there any members of the public or butters on the call who wish to weigh in?
I have one more question.
Okay, Nelson, I'll circle back to you.
Okay.
Nick, can you tell if anybody's raising their hand or is trying to speak? I can't tell.
I see no one who has put a hand up, but they'd have to press *9 if they wish to speak.
All right. Anyone wishing to speak, press *9. If not, we'll close the public hearing. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, Nelson, what was your question?
My question had to do with the ownership and maintenance of this detention pond area. I know it's part of the plan. It doesn't show on this particular view we have, but who's going to take care of that? Is that an association of these people? How is it done?
So what we did is for the units down here, the 65 units here, their line goes right up here, and it's this dashed line with the 2 dots and goes through. So everything else on this side up here will be part of the association here, and this will be the current owners. They lease this here, so they would be the ones that would stay with the ownership of that.
And they'd be responsible for maintenance of it and so on.
And right now, the DES, it's unbelievable the amount of stuff going in the operation and maintenance agreements, names, phone numbers, yearly reports up to the state, making sure they get submitted to DPW at the towns and the state. So we're really getting a lot more checks and balances on a lot of different of these stormwater facilities.
That's good to hear from a town point of view. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is from a designer standpoint too. It's nice when they build them and they work the way we design them.
Yeah. They do take a little maintenance. You know, they do have to be looked after from time to time.
A little bit, not a ton. Any other questions by members of the board? If not, then it's appropriate to undertake a motion to continue to our September 15th meeting.
Chairman.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councillor Boyd. Alistair Mills, was that a second?
I will second that with pleasure.
Move to continue to September 15th by Zoom meeting with no further notice to abutters. Let's do a roll call vote. Alistair, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nelson Disco, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. That's 5-0-0 to continue it. Matt, thanks for the presentation. We'll see you in a month.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You are welcome. Okay, back to our agenda. Item 7 on our agenda is Frank and Aaron Morris as the applicants and owners, and it is a review for consideration of an amendment to a previously approved subdivision plan to allow for a gravel driveway and timber bridge, whereas a paved driveway and concrete bridge were approved. The parcel is located at 42 Parkhurst Road in the R1 Residential by Map District and Aquifer Conservation Area. Tax Map 7A, Lot 3, Case Planning Board 2020-17. Robert, is there anything that we need to know before we hear from Mr. and Ms. Morris?
Or just to give the board a little bit of background on this. Ultimately, the request is quite minor. However, to understand it, I need to dig into a little bit of history and how this came to be. This is a project, the lot, the buildable area with the house is actually situated over the town line in Bedford. The access to the lot is from Parkhurst Road in Merrimack. This plan was approved by both the Merrimack and Bedford planning boards sometime circa 2008, and to my knowledge has not been built to this point. The lot, I think, has been sold once or twice, and the Morrises now are coming forward, I believe, to build it out. This one was kind of unique in that this subdivision plan contained a detail sheet for showing a paved driveway as well as a concrete bridge. As the board knows, normally that type of detail does not exist on a subdivision plan, as those items typically are left till later on. They're not really a part of a subdivision, especially a minor one lot little development. However, they're here, and the Morrises are in the process of building out their lot. The request had started with Public Works as part of their right-of-way permit to not pave the driveway. Public Works was decided to hold firm that they want the driveway paved because the plan has a detail sheet that shows it is paved. Distance, I believe, would be over 300 feet if they were to do that. Additionally, and my understanding is that this has already been constructed, but the bridge is now a timber bridge. So as a result of that change, which the fire department has already signed off on, we asked, since they are coming in for this, to change the detail on the plan to reflect the timber bridge. The reason this is before the board, we had to talk to our legal counsel as how to handle it, because if this were a small site plan change, we could administratively handle it, but being a subdivision, we don't have that authority. So in talking to our legal counsel, I posed the question saying, well, how do we handle this, considering that these details normally don't appear and that type of stuff is subject to change anyway? She said that if this plan were, if the changes that were being proposed were okay with all departments involved, all town departments, then there would be no change necessary and they could just go and do what they wanted. However, in this case, our Public Works Department, as I mentioned earlier, wants the driveway to be paved, only because, as my understanding in speaking with Kyle Fox, only because the plan shows the detail that way. So the applicants are coming before the board to change that to a gravel driveway to reflect what they want to do, as well as having the paved apron there that is shown and the timber bridge that the Merrimack Fire Department has already okayed. The one outstanding question at this point is whether or not the Town of Bedford Planning Board needs to weigh in on this or not. As of right now, I think there's still pending answers on whether or not they need to see it. So we have a proposed condition of approval should the board decide to amend the plan, that the Town of Bedford provide a written confirmation that a subdivision amendment is not necessary, or they actually go to the Bedford Planning Board and amend the subdivision, whichever path is determined appropriate on their side. So I'm sorry for running on, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if they happen to come up, but I hope that kind of covers it.
Thank you, Robert. I think it is a good explanation of a complicated history, and well, let's hear from the applicant. I think that we can probably move forward pretty quickly. Mr. and Mrs. Morris, do you have anything that you'd like to share with us that adds to what Robert had provided in his explanation?
Robert, you did a great job summarizing that history. We recognize it's been a long one. I would just like to add that the bridge was changed to timber really for aesthetics to the property rather than a concrete bridge. It was not changed for any other reason. Similar to the asphalt driveway, we're changing that for aesthetic reasons only.
Okay, thank you for the comments, and I appreciate that. So my thought on this, and I apologize to you, Mr. and Ms. Morris, for you even having to be here. I think that this is a collection of strange interpretations of things that brought us to this, but it seems like the easiest way out of it is for the board to take some action and decide what to do with this. But I really think that it's I'm disappointed that you ended up here having to ask us for this, because this is not an item that is part of a subdivision approval.
Yep.
This is something that should have, it's your choice how to build your driveway, as in any other subdivision. If this is what it takes to get you what you need, I'm glad to do it, but I'm disappointed that the interpretations along the way, but from the lawyers and from everybody else, land us here. I think it doesn't reflect well on the town to approach this way. I don't think. We should have been solution oriented, I think, but here we are, and I'll be solution oriented. I think that we should certainly approve this and get you on your way. I'm not sure that it even fits within our jurisdiction to say no if we wanted to. My 2 cents. Other members of the board that wish to have some comments on this? Nelson.
Oh, Mrs. Allison Milnes, I support you, Mr. Chairman. I can't see why it just couldn't have been rubber stamped at a lower level.
Nelson, what's your comment?
My comment was to completely agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I think we don't normally require pavements on driveways or asphalt or whatever, and I think that this is just bureaucracy in action. I would make a motion to approve this request if that's in order.
I think it is in order, Nelson, and thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
You got public here.
All right. Thank you for the reminder, Robert. I think I will count Lynn as the second, and then we'll table the motion while we open up the floor to see if there's any public input on this. Is there any members of the public or butters who wish to weigh in and offer the board an opinion? Nick, can you tell if anybody's trying to raise their hand that I can't see?
I haven't seen anyone press *9 to raise their hand.
Okay, excellent. So we'll consider the public hearing closed. Is any board members that wish to speak to the motion? Bill Boyd.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually.
Go ahead, Bill.
We lost audio here.
Nelson, I can hear you. Can you not hear us?
The only one who's.
Hang on a second. Let's see if we can sort that out. Your screen froze a little bit, like maybe the Wi-Fi that you're using might not have had the bandwidth for it, or is just a little unstable. Let's give it a second to see if it clears so that Nelson can hear the conversation.
have a similar issue. Sometimes I have to log out and come back in. Nelson may need to do that.
Might need to. I don't know if he can hear us to do that. Let me text him while we're. Oh, it looks like he did drop out.
And when he logs back in, he'll probably be fine.
All right. Let's give him a minute to do that because I want to make sure that he has a chance to understand Bill's comments as well and any other comments anybody'd like to make. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Sometimes the technology isn't helping us and cooperating. Nick, are you able to see who's trying to enter and know
Yeah,
whether he's out there?
I don't see him yet.
We do still have a quorum, correct?
We do. Nelson's trying to connect. He just texted me. So give him a second and we'll be there. But yes, we do have a quorum. We could continue if ultimately Nelson's unable to reconnect. Let's give him a second. This is the first time with one of the Zoom calls that we've had a member kind of drop out like that and have to pause, but it happens. Life goes on. We will get there. I'm really glad that we achieved a quorum for this. I was really kind of heartbroken at the idea that you guys might have to wait a little longer for the relief that hopefully you're going to see here tonight. Because of the lack of a quorum. You're the one agenda item that I was most concerned about when we were counting votes here in the beginning to see who we had.
As soon as you said that early on in the meeting, I was crossing my fingers.
Thank you for your patience and your understanding with that. I really am glad that we got a quorum together. I don't know if Nelson's going to have some luck with this or not, whether we should, what do you guys think? You want to keep waiting, or Bill, do you want to make your comment? Or
My comments will be very quick, Mr. Chairman.
Please go ahead then.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I actually was on the planning board back in 2008. I remember the project. I remember that they wanted to pave it and put a concrete slab there. And while I did support, I wasn't exactly enthralled with the concept of concrete going into that particular parcel. I'm actually very happy for what the Morrises are doing. I think a wooden bridge there is just going to blend in nicely, especially with our covered bridge not further on down the road. I think it gives it a little bit more of a country feel to, and the gravel drive gives it more of like more of a cart path approach to it. So, and I agree with you. This should have been handled administratively. I certainly want to apologize to the Morrises that we could not have accommodated that, but I will be supporting the project as presented tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Bill. I want to make one clarification, and I hope it's consistent with what it's on other people's mind. As we talk about it being handled administratively, I'm not looking to our community development department to do anything different than what they've done. It's not within their authority to have solved this, but there were some other places that could have attended to it a little differently, I think. But I just want to make sure. Normally, administrative approval is sort of Robert's department and Tim and Casey, and that's not the case with this one. So,
and I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I agree with that as well. This was not community development issue. They
Right.
did all they could.
Right, and I'm glad to be able to move it along. So the one thing, it looks like Nelson may not be able to rejoin us or log in, and yeah, he says he's having trouble trying to connect. What I would like to do because of that, Nelson was the maker of the motion that we're voting on, and since he's now dropped out and can't participate, perhaps it would be in order to have someone else make the motion.
Also move.
Lynn makes the motion, Bill Boyd seconds. Let's do the roll call vote. Alistair Milnes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. That's 4-0-0. I'm sorry I couldn't get you 5-0-0. You deserve that too, and I'm sure you would have had it if Nelson was on the line. But at least we're getting you out the door with what you need. So you got to check with the Bedford Planning Board and make sure they don't want to hear it, or if they do, that you go through whatever process they have. But as far as the Merrimack Planning Board, you got clear skies.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys, and thank you for your patience.
Bye-bye.
Let's see, item number 8 on our agenda is William Listelka as the applicant and Land of Goshen as the owner. Review for acceptance and consideration of final approval of a lot line adjustment. The parcels are located at 5 and 7 Watkins Road in the R Residential District and Cluster Subdivision. It is Aquifer Conservation and Wellhead Protection Area, and it is tax map 4C, lot 449 and 449-1. Case Planning Board 2020-18. Robert, is there anything that we need to know before we hear from the applicant?
This one, I'll just turn it right over to Mr. Plouffe.
Thank you for that, Mr. Plouffe. Please introduce yourself, even though I gave your name right there, and tell us what we're proposing here.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm Michael Plouffe. I'm a licensed land surveyor with Fieldstone Land Consultants. Mr. Chairman, I certainly apologize. I was unable to get my video going, but I can assure you I'll have it going the next time. I'm here tonight to represent a lot line adjustment application for Bill Listelka, who is the owner of tax map lot 4C 449, located at 5 Watkins Road, and he's also the owner of lot 4C 449-1, located at 7 Watkins Road. The purpose of his plan is to revise the common line between 449 and 449-1 by subtracting parcel A from 449-1 and adding it to 449. Parcel A is a total of 1,050 square feet, which allows a little more buffer between Bill's existing house and the lot to be built on, which is 449-1. Final areas will be 1.373 acres for 449 and 0.607 acres for 4C 449-1. This application is fairly straightforward. I think I can share the plan if you'd like me to. And it's the area that's hatched on the plan, labeled parcel A.
Sure, go ahead and share it if you like. Or see if we can anyway. Looks like it.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, there we go.
This, if you can see my cursor where it says parcel A, we're just taking this hatched area right here, 1,050 square feet, and we're adding it to 449 to give a little more of a buffer between the lot line and the corner of the building right here.
All right, so a little sliver of land, what is it, roughly 10 feet wide, running past the house to add a little buffer?
That's correct, 10 down to 0.
Okay, so I understand from reading some of the information from the staff that there's some attention needed to easements related to the driveway that have nothing to do with the lot line adjustment, but have come to light as a result of the application, and it needs some attention. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, I read that in the staff comments. Presently, we believe Mr. Listelka has an unwritten prescriptive right over the existing driveway access. This access has been in place for many years and has been used continuously to access the former on-site buildings, dating back to I was told to the late 1800s. There used to be a building before the building that Bill took down. So this access has been here for a long time. It also serves, there's an easement for the town for emergency access to go through this lot to the back. There's also an existing easement for Merrimack Village District to go through this area using this gravel drive as well. Really, there isn't a written easement, but certainly there's a prescriptive one.
So I understand your position, and I think from a legal standpoint, if all of the assertions you made about how long it's been there and all of that are accurate, it probably is a prescriptive easement. In order to satisfy the board, what would happen is we would make a condition of approval that whatever the basis is for that easement be established to the satisfaction of the town's legal counsel. And as long as you do that, that's the end of our interest in it.
Okay.
So I don't know what it will take to have the town's legal counsel, whether they'd want you to establish the prescriptive easement going through the legal process that it occurs for that, or whether there's some ability to make it a written easement by contacting the abutter and making such arrangements, or how that might play out. But
well, we can certainly work with the town council to make sure that everyone's in agreement and approval.
Town legal counsel, not town council.
Legal counsel, sorry.
Yeah. With that in mind, planning board, the first action we should consider is whether the application is complete and ready for our review.
Also move.
The motion that this application is complete and ready for us to make a decision.
All right, let's count Lynn as the maker of the motion, Alistair as the seconder of the motion. Is there any discussion? Alistair Milnes, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill Boyd?
Aye.
Nelson, have you rejoined us? Has Nelson been able to rejoin yet? No, if he's not, then I will vote yes. And that is 4-0-0 to find the application complete. I don't know if I don't have any questions about the application. It's seems like a very small lot line adjustment. And if it's important to the applicant, that's all that matters. Did any members of the board have any questions about it? If not, Bill Boyd, I'm sorry. We do a public hearing first. Bill, what do you got?
Very quickly, just more of a comment, just as a title examiner. I love hearing stories about prescriptive easements. I think they're fascinating, especially when you can trace it back into the deeds. It's a nice piece of history. So I appreciate the applicant sharing that with us. Thank you.
Thank you for that observation. Any other comments by members of the board? Are there any abutters or citizens who wish to weigh in on this application? I don't see any. Nick, can you spot anybody that's trying to weigh in?
I have not seen anyone press *9 yet.
Okay. Then we will close the public hearing. Then the appropriate action for the board is to grant conditional final approval subject to the conditions in the staff's memo, if you so choose.
I will so move, Mr. Chairman.
I think Lynn was the first one to start it, and Bill will count you as the second.
That works.
Lynn's the mover, Bill's the second. If there's no further discussion, Alistair Milnes, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Bill Boyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn Christensen, how do you vote?
I'll ditto Alistair and say, yeah, aye.
Yeah, aye. I vote yes as well, so that's 4-0-0. Thank you for the presentation. I was just texting Nelson because he was still trying to get logged on and he can't manage it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the information. Glad to be able to help. I'm just letting Nelson know there's no need for him to rejoin. Okay, back to the agenda, which I moved aside and put over here or something. I think that's the last bit of business for us. And we are, those are minutes.
Any other items?
Any other items of concern? Discussion items of concern?
None here.
None? Anyone else have any?
No, Mr.
Alistair, go.
No.
Bill Boyd.
I'm good to go, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. It seems to be the intention of the group to continue doing Zoom meetings. I kind of like them, actually. Anybody have any objection to us continuing to do that? As we go into September, we're going to start 2 meetings a month, which is our normal schedule again.
I'm good with Zoom.
just answering Nelson again. I think that it's been working pretty well. I don't have any other items of concern to raise before. What's that?
I think it makes it easy for professional as well as applicants to attend these meetings without having to make the effort to physically come to town hall. I like them.
Yeah, I mean, I also miss having in-person meetings, but I find it pretty useful to be able to do it with the timing without all the travel. So, okay, if there's no other items of concern, the last item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of July 21, 2020.
I'll move they approve as printed.
Seconded, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? Then let's have a roll call vote. Alistair, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. That's 4-0-0. And that's the last business for the board tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Alistair. Motion by Lynn.
Can I speak to the motion, Mr. Chairman?
Please, yes.
No.
Actually, you can't speak to a motion to adjourn, but we'll let you anyway.
Okay. I just want to thank Robert. Just wanted to thank Robert for his help tonight. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I agree with that.
Thank
Lynn,
you.
what were you trying to say?
Nothing.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Alistair, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lynn?
I was saying it's non-debatable. I'll vote aye.
It is non-debatable. That's true. You wasn't really debating it, though. Bill, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much. And I'm glad that we're able to pull it together and get it done.
Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning. I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.